what did you like most about my CV that made you want to have this lovely interview with me?
Yeah, so basically we are looking for an experienced front-end developer who can work directly with client on an independent basis. We walked through your CV and we saw that you have an extensive, like you have worked as an architect. You have mentioned in the recent year front-end architect. So we just are looking for some senior developers because it's just directly client facing. So you mentioned in your introduction like you have worked on the optimization where you said that you have made the site very fast, like a 400 or some data you gave. So what was the technique you have used? Like how did you analyze this optimization and what technique you have used in the React side basically to make it fast? So can you just elaborate like what all features you have used?
Okay, so there are a lot of features to be used. Let's start with the simple ones. You compress
Yeah.
everything. So if you have HTML, CSS, definitely JavaScript, you compress it. If you have JavaScript, you also uglify it. Maybe grab it in and convert it into a bundle using Webpack. Now, if you're looking to optimize single pages that are separate than the main one, you might also want to do code splitting. So they only load one when they're needed. That would be one of the optimization things. Definitely content delivery networks. Regarding the CSS, optimize the critical rendering path. Whatever is loaded first into the view needs to load very, very quickly, and the rest of them could load later. Making sure that you use less and less tags, so you don't need to 10,000 tags to display something that can be done with 500 tags and so on. So reduce tag complexity, good HTML logic, and then on the React side, let's say you want to make sure that components that render a lot don't need to can be cached, and you need to look into the performance issue. Maybe you have some kind of variable that updates up in the chain tree and then it propagates down as a change. So lots and lots of other components need to be re-rendered. Definitely you have some heavy, let's say, processes in terms of calculation. You might use Memo to cache that, or if you have functions that get reinstantiated all the time, then you might use callback or use Memo for components themselves. It's just like the React Pure component from the class side. So there are many aspects that we can talk about.
Okay, that's great. Like too many things you have mentioned, and that's what we use on different projects. Not everything in one project, but definitely bits on pieces of it in every project. You mentioned about the Redux, right? So did you work with any Redux toolkit library or something?
So I worked with the Redux that comes with React itself, so the reducer. I've worked with React Redux, the old way library. I started working with Redux toolkit now, where you create slices, and well, it's easier to do the same thing in one file instead of multiple other files and so on. So it's easier to create and manage. And Redux Redux DevTools, so you can debug it in browser, see what your state looks like in any position. Yeah, definitely.
Suppose I have to have a tab data structure where the values will be stored, and it should be like very quick. Like you you are talking about this sorting algorithm. Definitely, sorting algorithms are sometimes expensive also if the data is big. So in that way, like what kind of data if you've used like array or list, what anything you have used this kind of in your projects?
Usually I store as I mentioned, I store let's say the sorting ones as keys in just arrays, simple arrays, and then I store the rest of the data in objects based on those keys. Because once you do a search or a filter or anything you want to do, and you already have the ID or IDs, you no longer need to go through the big collection and access them, because you can access them by keys. So if you separate a bit, let's say the sorting in arrays and the rest of the data in objects, is going to be, well, you don't need loops in loops. It's only going to be one or two loops just to make them, and that's it.
There is one scenario like if I have a scenario like I have a page with 10 form fields, and I have like entered some data in the form, and I just clicked on the back button of the window. So before going back to the previous page or something, like I have to show some pop-up showing that the data is not saved. So do we want to really go back to the previous page or something? So how can we implement that scenario in our project, React project?
Okay. So firstly, you would like you might want to do a dialogue or a model to do that.
Yeah.
More or less, they're almost one and the same. And in order to go further with it, you need to think about at least two scenarios. Do you want to actually capture that data for a later use? Yes, you want to go back, but if you want to go forward, do you want to refill the entire form? It's a big form. It's a time waster to just lose that data. So maybe you want to store that data before you go away into a session storage or a local storage. And once you want to create that model, you want to pass to the model, well, definitely configuration, like what's the question, what do you do once you press on the, let's say, the OK button, whatever the label would be, or the cancel button. And for models, you might want to look into creating those ones using create portal. There will be sometimes some CSS issues in terms of displaying Z indexes and so on. So with create React portal, you can create a second element, or at least have ready a second element that sits down in the DOM from the root where React was rendered, and then you avoid all those CSS issues. After that, either use the dialog, which comes from HTML5 plus, which is supported by any browsers, or you can customize your own, let's say, model with some transparency behind, some position fixed, and then inside it with display flex to center it and look into if it's a model and the screen is probably smaller, you look into also the heights, maybe do some body that has auto scroll so you can still see the action buttons and so on. There are many considerations regarding this one. However, the most important one would be create React portal to help you out with the big CSS issues, which you cannot avoid it otherwise.
Like I have to develop an application, which is having 4 or 5 brands. So how can I on building the application, I have to generate 5 different artifacts for these 5 different brands. So how can I do this thing in the build process of a React application?
Okay, you can
Creating fine, yeah.
pass it some system variables, and based on those ones, you could figure out which brand
I
is.
have to I have to show different headers and footers for these 5 different brands, and
Yes.
all the CSS should be different for all the 5 brands. So how you will handle this at the build process?
Okay, so the build process, you pass in system variables to, let's say, brand one, current brand, and that would be, let's say, Coca-Cola or Google or whatever. And then once you grab that, let's say, info, you can definitely use something like style component with theming. And based on that, you can load themes and paddings and logos and colors and whatever you need for that specific client, and the app would just react to it.
Being a front-end developer, it is the HTML, CSS also plays a very important role, right?
Yes.
So how much comfortable are you in RWD?
Well, I would say I can close my eyes, I can tie my legs in one hand because I still need one to work with, and I can then speak over the phone with somebody who never worked on a computer but knows how to type, never worked as a web developer, and debug anything in HTML, CSS related to responsive web design, fluid typography, or any kind of CSS related issue.
That sounds really great, yeah.
That's how confident I am.
Yeah. So probably I'll give you a scenario. Suppose I have an application, okay, and I have 3 buttons at the top right corner. One says 28, another says 32, and another one says 48. So these are the font size. If I click on 28 button, 28 text button, it will change the entire application text to 28. And same wise other 2 buttons. So 48 will convert the font size to 48 and 32 will convert that. So how you'll handle that using CSS?
Okay, just CSS. So either you do it from the backend and you pre-generate using SAS different classes, and then you switch those classes. This would be the old way. Otherwise, you might have to declare inside the root default values, root for CSS, I mean, like colon root. And then with JavaScript, you basically modify the variables inside the root, and then it applies across the entire website. Now, if it comes only to font size and that's it, there is even an easier way, which is to use REMs. And REMs are also very, very, I would say, friendly for ARIA and let's say accessibility, I would say. So in order to change the font size across the entire app, you'd basically go and change the font size for the HTML element, which is the root element, and then everything else flows in, because if everything else has been declared in REMs, it will react to the default font size of the HTML tag element. So I've just gave you about 3 solutions and there are more.
Yeah, that sounds good. But okay, if I consider the scenario like we have page headings as well, right? And I want to maintain the ratio of the page headings also, right? And you're telling me that okay, we can switch the classes. But isn't that an expensive process to, writing the JavaScript and changing the classes? It will impact the performance because, I found it quite an expensive task to do all these things. So, anything that we can directly handle through the CSS, rather than impacting the performance and everything else. Because I believe have you worked on SAS and less?
And using SAS and less, you can definitely export, as I mentioned, different configurations, and you can switch the configurations. If I can share the screen, I could also show you how this is working. I just created recently a project which I optimized to be 100 of 100 Google PageSpeed score. Let's go here. As you can see, the page already loaded, and I'm controlling through inputs the entire web page. And it doesn't need JavaScript to load. If I am to disable JavaScript, by the way, because you can see in a second that's only CSS, just give me a moment so I can reach disable JavaScript, whatever it is. Come on, disable JavaScript. Okay, so I'm disabling JavaScript. And now I click on the page and it still works. Everything works as expected. And if I am to switch probably to something like mobile, yeah, you can see that with disabled JavaScript on mobile, the web page still works, and it's using the technique that I mentioned.
Okay, that's great. Yeah.
I hope you like it, and now I can enable it back.
Yeah, this is good. Yeah.